Good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hitting cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade, which means distant thunder. Hey, Cuttagay Wee, to all my friends and relatives in four directions, you are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. That's my colonized name. Hey, we discuss local and national Native news and events, and as you know, Chujunk, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Yes, you are right, Jaga. And this portion of the show is supported by NACD's Four Sisters Food Sovereignty Program. You can join them this weekend for a Phillips Farms bike tour in South Minneapolis on Saturday, September 28th, from noon to 4 p.m. to learn about locally grown foods and share a meal. Learn more and sign up for this free event at nacd.org/events.
Hey, you know, I like to be right once a day, and I appreciate you throwing that out there. Hey, later on, we're going to have Hunter Thundercloud, who's an owner and entrepreneur, and we're going to talk about some heavy-duty stuff that is dear to my heart, and really excited to have Hunter on. Hey, Haley, what's going on here this week? I know we have some things happening with the pickle off, important things like that I'm going to miss because I'm going to be in the Big Apple, walking around aimlessly in the city for sure.
Oh, yeah, missing us and your NACD crew, I'm sure. Yeah. We're definitely going to miss you. Shout out to NACD, one of our great sponsors. They are hosting their Pickle Off, which is like the pickle contest. We're learning about food preservation and jarring and stuff like that. But the Four Sisters Farmers Market goes on every Thursday through October, and those hours are 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. NACD and I believe it's Indian Health Board's pickle contest will be tomorrow. So
are you going to be a judge there? Are you going to be there?
I wish. I did not get called to be a judge, but I'll definitely be there. I might have to get my face painted. Pickle themed, or definitely try the pickle lemonade. I am really excited for that.
Well, what's really fun too is that we have a lot of listeners all over Turtle Island, so we could throw them under the bus if they didn't make you judge right now. But we won't do that. That power I'll hold back.
Yeah, we should make our own pickles for next year.
Well, I heard you were on a fry bread quest with my Nani and your Gaga.
I was. We did make some delicious fry bread, and that was my first time, so I was really, really pleased with how it turned out. It was perfect brown, crispy on the edge, soft on the inside.
I just had some last night. I was over at my Weeha visiting my grandchildren, and
really?
I had the Ojibwe, even though it's Ho-Chunk fry bread, the Ojibwe made me a taco, fry bread taco, and so I've been remembering that all day, and also it was very delicious last night.
Yeah, Indian fry bread tacos are just way better than the original. Well, maybe those are the original.
Exactly.
But fun things going on. So we've got the Four Sisters Farmers Market tomorrow. That address is 1414 East Franklin Avenue along the American Indian Cultural Corridor. Definitely check it out. Also, save the date. This is Indigenous Peoples Day in Minnesota. This is one of the events that I look forward to every year on Indigenous Peoples Day. I saw the first few flyers come out today on Facebook. But the sunrise ceremony, this will be the 10th one, because I guess this started back in 2014. They started doing the sunrise ceremony at B'day Makaska in Minneapolis.
Yeah, B'day Makaska.
Yes.
You got me saying it wrong now. B'day Makaska.
Thank you.
Those Dakota words don't roll off the top of my tongue as they should. Ooh.
I know. Thank you for the correction. But yeah, the sunrise ceremony 2024 will take place on Indigenous Peoples Day, which is October 14th. And this is a little summary of what they put on the poster here. The sunrise ceremony is a tradition that began in 2014 when the Minneapolis City Council officially voted to recognize Indigenous Peoples Day. The ceremony lasts about 30 to 45 minutes, and there will be warm refreshments served. This year's ceremony will be led by Lemoyne LaPointe. The gathering will start at 7 a.m. Gathering will be at 7 a.m., and then the ceremony starts at 7:15.
And that's, I would guess, when the sun rises at 7:15. It's super dark over there. Yeah, it's super dark over there. Get there early. There's places to park right in front, but also, I know if you get there late, you're going to be parking a long ways away. And it's there's a lot of people that show up for that.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a really big community thing, and it starts out in the morning. You're up before the sun, and you're with your relatives and community members. And yeah, I just remember it was so moving and so spiritual last year. That was my first time going, and you see so many people and so many leaders from the community. I know the governor, Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan shows up, and
Wilhelm was there. And you know what's interesting too? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
but what's interesting too, I'm going to ask you: are you going to swim beforehand? Because there is people that Native women that swim, and that blows my mind. But it's not winter, so it's a little chilly, but not too bad.
Yeah, I actually was just going to bring this up, kind of like you were reading my mind there. But yeah, I remember a group of women that did kind of like a cold water plunge. And I'm sure there's different meaning behind it, but I saw that last year, and I was like, wow, I think I want to do that next year. And I think that might have been our friend Rachel Banks and her group of women that do that.
Yeah, there's more than her, but she does it every year. I know that. And that'd be something very cool to know the meaning behind it. I think it's a Dakota thing. And so, we play pan-Indians every once in a while. Ho-wah.
Yeah, but it'd be interesting. I should ask her. I should get there early this time and ask her about it.
Yeah. Well, I'll be just pulling in there with the lights on and the Tribe Called Red music pounding in my speakers, flying down the road, and drinking some coffee and looking for a bathroom because that's, I'm old now, Haley.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they might have a porta potty out there for you, but elder accessible, I don't know.
Well, they have a big lake, but that's another show and another story.
Oh, goodness, yeah. Thank you for sparing us that one.
Hey, we only got a couple minutes, but there was something that we talked about in pre-production. Yes, we don't do this off the top of our head. There's big planning going on.
Bigly.
Haley, we got a couple minutes. One of the interesting things is, I drive to Wisconsin all the time, and all these cities and counties are named after Native Americans, and we just forget that, like cities here and counties here in Minnesota too, Laconia, all these Native names, but some of these states have Native names, and I think are really interesting.
I know. Yeah. So we found this list off of the Department of the Interior under Indian Affairs, and it kind of goes through like a list of all the states, and starting in A here, so Alabama, it says that word is from an Indian tribe of the Creek Confederacy, originally called the Alabamas or I'm going to pronounce this wrong probably, but Alabamones, who in turn gave the name to a river which the state name was derived from, which is interesting.
Yeah, we should talk about Arizona because our friend Hunter, our Ho-Chunk friend Hunter, who's going to be on, is living in Arizona. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to read that one? Where does that come from?
No, my glasses are a little foggy because we only have a minute left.
Okay. Well, the state Arizona, the name comes from the word means arid zone or desert. Others claim the name is Aztec from the meaning silver bearing, which is interesting. Does a lot of silver come out of Arizona? I'm not sure.
I don't know. We'll have to ask Hunter.
Good point.
Right on. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we're going to be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
Ho-wah.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger, purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Everyone likes a litter-free ride on Metro Transit buses and trains, so pitch in. Take pride in your ride and take your trash off with you when you get off at your stop. You'll find trash bins at every Metro station. Want to help clean up transit stops in your neighborhood? Join the hundreds who volunteer to adopt a stop and keep it picked up. Learn more at metrotransit.org/adopt-a-stop. That's metrotransit.org/adopt-a-stop.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, could potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, I'm really proud and happy to bring on Hunter Thundercloud, a Ho-Chunk entrepreneur, and I had a chance to listen to some of the work that Hunter is working on, and I really want to amplify this young warrior's work here. All over Turtle Island, we're on 30 stations in Wisconsin, we call it Minnesota, and all over, and we have a big, wide reach here, and I thought it would be really important to bring Hunter on and talk about his story, but also what he's doing now. Welcome to Native Roots Radio.
Thank you for having me. It's my first time being on a radio show, so I'm excited.
Right on. Right on. I can tell. Hey, so your story is you lived in Wisconsin and then moved to Arizona and now have come up as an entrepreneur, some ways to help our people. And the irony was that we just ran a commercial about what's really hurting our nation and our country, but especially our Ho-Chunk people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting involved in starting a rehab. Today I have 6 years clean and sober.
Today, wow!
It's a big deal.
Congratulations!
Today. And it kind of it feels like everything's just falling into place. I've had this great window and opportunity to be able to, put my efforts into trying to start this rehab this past month. It's been a dream of ours the past 4 years. I'm the owner of 2 businesses, a residential moving company and a contracting company or construction company. We do commercial and new home building. I have about 20 employees right now. So, it's been a lot, and I'm lucky I have the ability to step away for a bit to work on this. I've been in Wisconsin now a little bit over 2 weeks. I'm doing some seed funding for this project.
Yeah, it's exciting. So you went on a one-way trip to Arizona. Talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind. And what I think is exciting is that you come out the other end of hell, basically.
Yeah. I went out to Arizona April 26, 2017. I went there for rehab. I was planning on going there for 90 days. I always tell, part of my story is, day 89, I thought I was going to be sober the rest of my life. And day 91, I was using again. And, it happens that quick. I wasn't ready, and I wasn't taking sobriety serious. I thought it would just happen. I wasn't willing to put in the work. It took me about a year and a half before I was able to kind of get it. I spent my first year and a half in and out of sober living and rehab, and I'm lucky enough that I come from a tribe that supports that. They helped fund that. They really gave me a second chance at life. So I owe a lot to the Ho-Chunk Nation and my family. I mean, they've always been really supportive. And, I remember I made a big commitment to stay sober, and I was like, I'll go back to Wisconsin and I have 2 years sober. And then Arizona became my home. Because when I was there, I got involved in AA, and then I met Arrow Funmaker, who is another Ho-Chunk. I live in Prescott, Arizona, so it felt like it was this thing that just lined up. What are the chances of finding another Ho-Chunk halfway across the country who is involved in sobriety? He worked at a rehab center, and he asked if he could build a sweat lodge in my house, because he was looking at a rental, and I'd never done it before, and I said okay, and that's really where our journey started. The first time I went into sweat, it felt like I'd been there. It really was the thing that helped me find my spiritual awakening. So that AA allowed me to get to that place to be open to it, and then sweat and ceremony were the things that connected me spiritually. And because of that, we started a 501c3. It's called Thundermaker Cultural Recovery, and we've been providing sweat lodge services to rehabs and Native Americans that need it in community. So we have an open door policy. We're always trying to help people. Yeah.
What I really like too is when your presentation talks about how Native Americans. I mean, it's a spiritual disease, as you said, alcoholism and drug addiction, and we need to land back with our community, but also our ways, and be Native centric in our recovery. And that thing really got me excited when you talked about that, Hunter.
For sure. I mean, I think lots of people don't realize, we do have this, hole in us, and and a lot of the 12-step programs talk about the only way to fill that is through spirituality. But I think Native Americans, it's a little bit different because we live on the land that was taken from us. Our culture has been taken from us. And really I think, rebuild our identity, we have to go back to old ways, back to our ceremonies. I mean, ceremonies are really the thing that makes us human. So it really needs to be involved in our recovery, in every aspect of our life. Not with addiction, but also our recovery and our generational trauma. In our community, bringing us closer together, being able to pray together again. I always say, Christianity is like when you go to church, you're a witness, and then when you do ceremony, you experience it. It touches all of your senses, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. And bringing that into places like drug and alcohol rehabs is important. And creating something that's native focused is really important for us.
Totally. And, I have family members that heard the drum for the first time and became very, very emotional. And that's in our DNA when you talk about things like that and the drum and our spirituality, Hunter.
Definitely. I mean, we understand that heartbeat. I mean, that's the heartbeat of Mother Earth, and I think we connect with it in a different way. I mean, we feel it. And, like even going into Sweat Lodge, it's like a NEPE. It's, they say we've been there before. We spent our first 9 months there in our life. It's a place where we get to go back and have a rebirth. But yeah, it's something that we as a people need to bring back into our life. Maybe not that ceremony, but whatever ceremony your tribe does, and when we utilize those ceremonies, it's really to inspire you maybe to go home and find your own if you need to. A lot of it is just learning how to reconnect. It's to inspire, not to take if you don't want to, because I know tribes in the West Coast and the East Coast, not everyone practices those things.
Right.
We all have the ability to maybe go back to our homelands and get involved, with our languages, our foods, ceremony. And it isn't always easy. It's uncomfortable.
Right.
And lots of life is uncomfortable. But, I always say, life is hard, whether you're doing hard things or not. It's hard. It's hard exercising. It's hard not exercising. You just get to choose. Maybe we get to choose which hard we want to do.
Exactly. Well, and then also being a spiritual being from the stars and the sky and the earth and the moon, that Native Americans' percentage of people that are dying on the streets is way out of whack. And something like this really needs to happen where we get down and dirty with our people and have them available to come back, as you say. And I think that's really important for us Native Americans to talk about coming back home.
Yeah, I mean, and I understand that. Sometimes when we practice other tribe ceremonies, it's a good thing, but also it's really important to go back to your homeland. I mean, it helps keep our cultures alive. Our religions, our people, because we are in a place in our societies where we're disappearing, it feels like it's inevitable. I mean, blood quantum is a very complicated issue. So I think when we go home, maybe we can help figure out how to keep ourselves, here for the next generation, the 7 generations after us. So.
Absolutely. Hunter, can you hold on for another segment?
Yeah.
Awesome. We're with Hunter Thundercloud, and we're talking about his vision of a treatment center in Arizona to help our people and Native people all across Turtle Island, and very inspiring. And we'll be right back after this short break.
Join the community spirit at Four Sisters Farmers Market, a seasonal hub for cultural placemaking, food access, and indigenous values. Four Sisters Farmers Market has always emphasized their commitment to the community and inclusivity, accepting SNAP and EBT benefits. Stop by and get affordable, healthy, and culturally appropriate local food. Four Sisters Farmers Market is open Thursdays 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. and is located on the American Indian Cultural Corridor off of Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis. Discover more about Four Sisters Farmers Market on their social media accounts.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl. J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot. I want to talk to you about the rising energy costs and how you can manage them with the help of 952 Windows. Many people have plenty of insulation in their roof and attic, but the next significant step for energy savings is installing energy-efficient windows and doors. My good friend owns 952 Windows, a part of Loyal Home. They did a remodeling job on our home 20 years ago and definitely did a better job than the other guys. I've talked to neighbors over the years that experienced contractor problems with those other guys, especially when their window and door upgrades fell short in quality and energy efficiency. But when we made our second floor addition to our home, we used 952 Windows and received an excellent price and exceptional workmanship. Since then, we've seen much lower energy bills. So for your next home remodeling project, go with 952 Windows. Trust me, you won't regret giving them a call at 952 Windows or 952windows.com. Discover the emotional depth and vivid storytelling of Jay White's Arikara Proper at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. This solo exhibition celebrates Arikara culture through the lens of an urban Indian perspective. Experience themes of empowerment, depictions of Native women, stars, and star quilts within White's vibrant acrylic paintings. Arikara Proper is showing now through October 5th at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. Get inspired by Jay White's powerful storytelling on canvas. Details at allmyrelationsarts.org.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Clear tonight with a low of 57, then Thursday, sunshine with a high of 81. Join AM 950 for our Vice Presidential Debate Watch Party Tuesday night at the Park Tavern. Come see Governor Tim Walz take on Weird J.D. Vance. We'll have a live hour with Matt at 7 and then the debate at 8. Get your tickets at am950radio.com. ATNF AM 950, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native-owned J.S. Bean Factory off Randolph Avenue in St. Paul. Only the good stuff keeps us awake.
Yes, I am awake. Hey, we're here with Hunter Thundercloud, and we're talking about his vision and the good work that he's going to be doing, helping our communities. And it's a great talk about recovery and spirituality and things that I hold dearly personally. And I talk a little bit about this at I'm November 9th, 1984 was the last time I used anything, alcohol or drugs or marijuana or anything. And I'm coming up on 40 years. And Haley, I know I look really young. I was probably 2 or 3 when I sobered up, but no, I'm old. I'm a definitely a baby elder at 63 here, but it saved my life. And one thing that Hunter and I were talking about, what I really enjoy too, is that connecting the dots backwards, how I got here, and it's so important, and it's part of our jam when we do recovery at things, whether it's a 12-step program or whatever helps you stay clean and sober. We have no market on that, but it's a spiritual disease, and it's great talking to you, Hunter. I really want to let our audience know how they can support, find out more information about your work, and let's let them know.
Well, we have I do have a website. Right now, it's just the landing page, but there's an email there. We are looking for investors right now. I have a house under contract, so we're hoping to open within the next 4 to 5 months. The contract on the house is for November 4th, so if everything goes right, we'll have a residential house. We have to convert it, but it's a big project, and I'm lucky that I've done okay in business where I can financially get some of this going and have lenders help us out. I didn't realize I could get a loan to buy a house like this, and that really kind of changed the projection of this, because we've been talking about this for years. And capital is always a really difficult thing for new businesses, deciding how we're going to start it, where we're going to find funding, and it's too bad. Like, lots of tribes have money to start things like this, but they don't have the infrastructure. And for me, it's the opposite. I feel like I have the infrastructure and maybe not enough capital. And the investors that I've been looking for recently, most of them are private Ho-Chunk people. So they're individuals and they're Ho-Chunk members, and they've been able to help get some seed funding going. And my businesses have been able to help with it. About 80% of the people that work for me are in some form of recovery. So it's our mission to always be involved in this community in every way possible, whether it's Native or not. Sobriety and recovery community is where my heart is, because all of us have really been affected by it, but I don't know where I can put my email or, right now it's under thundermakerwellness.com, but it's just a landing page. But there is an email where you can get a hold of me if you're curious on how you can help financially, or maybe provide other things, support, networking. I mean, we're really going to look for tribes that direct contract with us, because there's so few privately owned Native residential rehabs in the country. There's probably fewer than 50 of them. Most rehabs are either IHS run or tribal government run. Mm-hmm. And, so usually when they're run either of those ways, they're limited in different ways because of bureaucracy. Whereas in privately owned things, we can do different things. We can do things maybe a little bit faster.
Well, one of the things that I totally believe, I was in the field for a couple of years back in the 80s when I first sobered up, and my daughter is a drug and alcohol counselor too, my Hinu, and it's so important for people to see themselves in these people that are trying to help them. Hunter, having a Native and a Native talking to another Native about things that are maybe different than maybe a well-intentioned white person that's a counselor trying to help. There is that different thing. You don't have to explain your history and the history of Native Americans to move on. It's so important.
For sure. I mean, when I've done my presentation, and I've done my presentation in front of Natives, it's almost like I don't have to talk about the problem because we all understand it already. When I've looked for investors that are non-Native, I have to explain why this is a problem or an issue. Most Native communities and families have this issue internally.
Absolutely.
And my brother passed away 3 years ago. I mean, it affects us all pretty often, and the thing is, it almost feels like sometimes it's like, are there options for us? Are there enough options? And when I bring up those numbers for Native-owned rehabs, there's 20,000 rehabs in this country. So, I had someone ask me, well, are you going to accept everyone? And it's like, we probably have to because of how we take money, but also, there's 19,000 other rehabs people can go to. I mean, we're focused on Native issues for a reason, because the lack of them.
Right.
I mean, so.
Yeah. Well, if you get private funding and tribal funding, you won't have to do that. And that's a thing that we should talk about and focus on here while you're still up here in the Midwest. I'm leaving town, but I definitely want to give you a call about some ideas I just thought of too when it comes to investors. I just believe in everything you're doing, and I appreciate it takes a lot of guts to tell your story, and then also talk about solutions that people aren't really used to hearing solutions. So I just commend you so much, Hunter.
Thank you. I mean, I feel like I've always been a doer. I'm a contractor. I'm not a carpenter. I've been in construction field for 20 years. The one thing I've learned from it is, if I want to build something, I have to build it. I can't talk about it. If I want something to get done, I'm just going to do it. There might be parts of this I might fail with initially, but I'll keep trying, and I'll make it work. And I'm scared, but I'm still going to do it. There's a healthy fear, and I have so much support. I'm not doing this alone. I have tons of people in Arizona that are helping me. My family, I have an Arizona family, and they help me in every single way. We actually live in a community. We have 4 houses on our property, and there's over 3, 4, 5, so 12 of us with 4 families. And we live together. And in my mind, we live together like the old way. We eat together, we pray together. We celebrate birthdays together. When life is hard, we have people we can rely on. We have to go back to those ways, because that's what we're designed to do. Our clan systems, all of our tribal stuff is around community. It's not about being individuals. You can be an individual within your clan, but, we're taught clan systems so that you're able to have a direction and purpose. But you can still be an individual in that, but you always have a duty to something. And I think my mom would always talk about our duty isn't just to our family, but it's, to our community, our tribe, our people. It isn't just to our, direct family, and we want to bring those values back, and these are the things we're going to teach in our rehabs, try to make people understand that we need to help each other if we want to get rid of generational trauma, and it'll take a long time.
Yeah.
It's a big project.
Well, and it's one step at a time as we learn, inch by inch, it's a cinch, yard by yard, it's hard. And, it is about community, and we talk about community here, but it is about community. Everything, whether, I know you through your relatives, and they're in the community, and that makes you in the community. And, it's about bringing people back to the community, and I just can't say enough positive things. And we have a lot of listeners that are listening to us on Facebook and YouTube that are really saying, like Santina said, you have your ancestors behind you, Hunter. And Dennis said, keep plugging away, Hunter. You got this. people out there and that are supporting this in a big way. And I just can't thank you enough for coming on. And I'd love to have you come on some more too down the road here. Do you have any? We have a minute left. I just want you to be able to say your piece and let people know how they can get a hold of you and support you.
You can find me on Facebook, Hunter Thundercloud, or you can go to our website. It's thundermakerwellnesscenter.com. But otherwise, I'll respond to anything. I've even here when I'm going to the tribe, people want to ask me questions and they can message me on Facebook, and I make an effort to talk to everyone that I can because this is such a big issue. And the more people want to talk, the more I'll do. And we have a lot of support in Arizona, so it'd be great if I could come back on with Era Funmaker because he's got a lot of insight. So.
Yeah, we'll do a whole show with you, Hunter. We'll make that happen real soon. Hey, thank you so much for being on, and we'll talk to you very soon. That was Hunter Thundercloud, and we'll be right back after this short break. You're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Everyone likes a litter-free ride on Metro Transit buses and trains, so pitch in. Take pride in your ride and take your trash off with you when you get off at your stop. You'll find trash bins at every Metro station. Want to help clean up transit stops in your neighborhood? Join the hundreds who volunteer to adopt a stop and keep it picked up. Learn more at metrotransit.org/adopt-a-stop. That's metrotransit.org/adopt-a-stop.
Protect your children from measles. Measles is a serious disease that spreads easily and can lead to hospitalization and death. The best way to prevent measles is by getting the MMR vaccine. It is safe and effective. Hennepin County Public Health is hosting free vaccine clinics for children ages 0 through 18 this summer and fall. No registration necessary. Our next vaccine clinic is on Saturday, September 28th at Brookdale Library. Learn more by visiting hennepin.us/immunizations.
Join the community spirit at Four Sisters Farmers Market, a seasonal hub for cultural placemaking, food access, and Indigenous values. Four Sisters Farmers Market has always emphasized their commitment to the community and inclusivity, accepting SNAP and EBT benefits. Stop by and get affordable, healthy, and culturally appropriate local food. Four Sisters Farmers Market is open Thursdays 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. and is located on the American Indian Cultural Corridor off of Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis. Discover more about Four Sisters Farmers Market on their social media accounts.
Discover the emotional depth and vivid storytelling of Jay White's Arikara Proper at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. This solo exhibition celebrates Arikara culture through the lens of an urban Indian perspective. Experience themes of empowerment, depictions of Native women, stars, and star quilts within White's vibrant acrylic paintings. Arikara Proper is showing now through October 5th at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. Get inspired by Jay White's powerful storytelling on canvas. Details at allmyrelationsarts.org.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Howl!
And here's Wendy with the new sacred animals.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Haley. Hey, everybody. My name is Hanajihihani. That means cares for them. I was given that name by my Dega Curtis. Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. I'm a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and I work on animal issues at the local and state level. It's always my pleasure to do that. Today I'm going to be talking about declawing your cat. So a lot of people want to declaw their cats. I mean, cats can be destructive. There's a rescue organization in Minnesota, up north in Princeton, Minnesota, called Rough Start Rescue. I've watched Asia Davis, who is the founder, I guess she's the CEO and founder of the Rough Start Rescue, but years ago I started following her. And it's really gone from this small little teeny rescue organization to something really, really special. I mean, she does such good work for the animals here in Minnesota. She has, transports going, dogs coming and going from all over the United States, getting them the help that they need, rescuing them, setting up fosters. So if you're interested in fostering or helping, it's called Rough Start, R-U-F-F, Rough Start Rescue in Princeton, Minnesota. Check it out. And she posts, she's also on like the local news. They'll have her showing pets on the news, our local news stations, which dogs are up for adoption, how you could help. So it's really great. She does great work. So if you're listening at Azure, it's A-Z-U-R-E, Azure Davis. So she posts, this is what she posts. We often get requests for declawed cats. But did you know declawing is actually harmful? It is not just a nail trim. It's a painful procedure that removes part of their toes, impacting their balance and behavior. Cats rely on their claws for climbing, stretching, and self-defense. Instead of declawing, consider alternatives like regular nail trimming, scratching posts, or soft nail caps. There is also 2 states in the country where it is illegal to declaw a cat. The first state to ban this practice was New York, and New York passed a comprehensive ban on this procedure in 2019. The second state was Maryland, which passed a similar ban in 2022. And she has a little poster here that tells about the dangers of declawing your cat. So you want your cat to have physical and muscular health, emotional well-being, olfactory communication, and they use the cats for self-defense and confidence. 50% of declawed cats develop acute physical complications. 30% of declawed cats develop at least one behavioral problem. Declawing can produce chronic pain, arthritis and lameness, nerve tissue damage, gangrene, abscesses, paw pad atrophy, bone regrowth, osteomyelitis, litter box issues, and increased aggression. There's also one of the incentives that we've been working on in Minnesota, the Humane Society of the United States, is that there's a lot of landlords out there that one of the stipulations in the lease agreement is, yes, you could have a cat, but it has to be declawed. You could have a dog here, but it has to be debarked. So those are 2 things that I have worked on in Minnesota to stop that. The reason is, and we talk to people about, a landlord wants a declawed cat, but here's the thing. The declawed cat is going to have behavioral problems. If they don't want to scratch in the litter box, they're going to go elsewhere in the apartment, right? And they're going to be more aggressive. They're going to pee where they're not supposed to pee if this happens to them, and it causes more damage than if you had a cat with claws. I mean, the cat with claws is only going to really scratch your own furniture. It's not going to, scratch the walls in your apartment, I guess, unless you have like a mountain lion or something. But yeah. So there's a funny story I want to tell you guys. I've never told this story on the air, and I only tell a few people this because it's a little embarrassing, but here goes. So Robert and I always had cats in our house, and some of them were a little bit destructive, and they would claw the furniture. I was never. My philosophy is, if you're going to have dogs and cats and animals in your house isn't going to be perfect. It's not. It's just, don't strive for a perfection. I mean, that goes for kids too, right? If you want to have kids, you're not going to have a perfect house. they're messy. Animals are messy. Pets are messy, and that goes with the territory. So for me, I'm not really strict about that. And I did have a couple of cats who really honestly destroyed a chair that we had in the living room. It was a very nice lazy boy, kind of a fancy recliner. And these cats like really scratched the sides of this chair. And I don't know. I could have did better about training them not to, but whatever. It's fine. And our little Chihuahua dog, Pancho, he would jump up on the chair, and then every day he would like dig a little in the cushion, and finally he made like a perfect little round circle, a hole in the chair that he could fit his body in, and that's where he would sleep. But really, this chair was totally ruined, and when it was time, it was like, okay, we have to throw this chair out. This is really bad. But I said to Robert, I don't want you to bring it outside. Honestly, I don't want anyone to know we had this chair in our house. It's like really embarrassing. So what Robert did was he took the chair out and he brought it in the garage, and he chopped it up in little pieces with the saw, and he threw it out like a little bit at a time. And that's how we got rid of this chair, and none of our neighbors knew that we had this really beat up chair in our house. But, I've tried like putting tinfoil around the chairs. That works really good to deter the cat. And then finally the cat learns like, okay, this is not where I should be scratching. Definitely get a scratching post. Have something that they can climb on in your house. Cats need to climb, they need to scratch, they need to do all that stuff. Robert and I over the years have adopted older cats where we would get the cat, and it was a little nerve-wracking. It's like, why is this cat in the shelter? What's wrong with it? And we ended up having like these great cats, and we would look at each other and be like, why is this cat in the shelter? This cat is like a fantastic, wonderful animal. So thank you, Azure, for giving us updates about things that are happening. Again, it's Rough Start Rescue in Princeton, Minnesota. Azure does great work. Sometimes she even has like an online wish list of things that she needs for the shelter. And, sometimes I'll just go on and pick a few items that's on the list and have it sent. It's a constant battle. We always talk about how many cats and dogs are homeless here in the United States, and we always encourage, please adopt and do not shop. So with that, back to you, Robert. Back to you, Haley.
Thanks, Wendy. You are listening to Native Roots Radio. If you have been listening to the show, you are part of our resistance. We need to resist, divest, join a group, run for office, vote, and free Leonard Peltier now. We'll be back tomorrow.